He chose her. He gave her the ring, the title, the presents. She is the one in the family photos, the one at his side in public, the one everyone knows. But you are the one he remembers in silence. You are the one who shows up in his dreams when he's most honest with himself. You are the one whose presence still lives in his body long after the conversation ends, and it doesn't make sense. Not to him, not to you, not to the world that expects things to be black and white, because he made his choice. So why does his soul still feel like it's reaching for you? What most people don't understand is that men do not always choose what they feel. They choose what feels familiar, what feels stable, what feels socially correct. They choose the woman who fits into the life they built, even if that life was never built from truth. And when he met you, you didn't fit that life. You didn't fit the plan. You didn't come with safety or predictability. You came with fire, with mystery, with silence that said more than words ever could. You came with presence, and presence terrifies those who've never been truly seen. You didn't try to win him. You didn't compete. But your energy held something ancient, something unfiltered, something that touched the part of him he keeps buried even from himself. He felt more with you in a moment than he sometimes feels with her in years. Not because you are better, not because she is lacking, but because you reflect what he represses, and repression always creates fascination. You became a symbol, not of perfection, but of the version of himself he might have become if he had chosen differently. If he had chosen truth over tradition, depth over convenience, expansion over routine. But he didn't. He chose her, and maybe she is kind, maybe she is supportive, maybe she is everything he thought he wanted. But with you, something moved that he cannot explain. A stirring, a disruption, a remembering. That is the power of your energy. It's not about seduction. It's not about being more beautiful or more exciting. It's about resonance. You resonated with his soul, not just his eyes. You awakened a current in him that had been numb for years. And now, even though he walks beside her, there are parts of him that only come alive in the memory of you. And here you are left with the ache of being felt deeply, but never fully claimed. The ghost of an almost forgettable, to someone who still chose someone else. That pain is real, and it deserves more than silence. It deserves understanding. Because when a man feels more with you but chooses another, it is not a reflection of your lack. It is a reflection of his limitations. He may not be ready to live the version of himself that you reflect. He may not be able to handle the mirror you placed in front of him. Because loving you would require confronting everything he avoids, everything he hides behind, everything he pretends doesn't hurt him. And not every man is ready for that kind of love. The world tells you that if he chose her, she must be the one, that you were just a moment, a temptation, a fantasy. But what if you were the truth? Not the truth he could live with, but the truth he could only feel in glimpses. Because he was never taught how to hold it. Your energy is not an accident. It's not too much. It's not a threat. It is clarity. Saw him, not just his face, his job, his status, but the boy underneath, the wound beneath the performance. And you didn't run from it. You stood in front of it and still radiated love. And that is why he felt more with you. Because love is not in the titles. It's in the moments where someone sees your chaos and doesn't flinch. You may be wondering why he doesn't leave her. Why he hasn't called. Why he keeps showing up in energy but not in action. Because love without courage is still fear. And he fears you more than he desires you. Because desiring you comes with consequences. It comes with change, with risk, with exposure. And some men would rather stay numb in safety than feel alive in truth. But that is not your fault. You are not here to convince anyone to choose you. You are here to stand so fully in your presence that your very existence reveals who is ready and who is not. He may feel more with you, but if he cannot rise to meet that feeling, if he cannot choose himself, then he cannot truly choose you. And that's the hardest part. To be the one who awakens but never receives. To be the one who feels like home but watches him live elsewhere. So here's what you need to know. You were never a mistake. You were a mirror. You were a guide. You were the interruption to his unconscious life. But you are not meant to live in emotional fragments. You are not meant to be visited in secret. You are not meant to wait in the shadow of another woman's life. You are meant to be chosen in truth, or not at all. If you feel that ache, that emptiness, that wondering, let it guide you back to yourself. Not into doubt, not into trying harder, but into remembering who you are. The kind of woman whose energy cannot be replaced, whose silence speaks louder than noise. whose love burns clean but only for those who are ready to stand in. Eth may always remember you, but you do not have to stay remembering him. His choice says more about where he is than where you're going. You don't need to be picked, you need to be aligned, and the man who is aligned with your soul will not be confused about you. He will not feel more and choose less. He will not hesitate with what he knows in his heart. He will not love you in secret. He will stand beside you in light. That is the love you deserve, not a haunted echo, not an emotional memory, but presence, devotion, truth. You are not here to be his escape, you are here to be your own becoming, and that is what makes you unforgettable. If this message speaks to you, it's because something inside is ready to awaken. The Jung Method is where that journey begins. The link is in the first comment. You don't need to be chosen to be powerful. You don't need to be remembered to be meaningful. You don't need to be claimed to be whole. What happened between you and him was real. Real in the energy, real in the depth, real in the way it changed you. But now, the question is no longer about what he feels. It's about what you do with what you now know. You have felt what it means to stir someone's soul. You have seen what your presence can do. You have witnessed what happens when your light touches someone who has been living in quiet darkness. But that power is not just about impact. It is also about responsibility. Because when you awaken someone but remain asleep to your own needs, you end up trapped in a cycle of giving without receiving, of waiting without knowing why, of shrinking your truth so that someone else can stay in their comfort. You are not here to be a soft landing for men running from themselves. You are not here to be the memory they hold while choosing another life. You are here to experience your own becoming in full color and clarity. He may feel more with you, but feeling is not the same as showing up. He may remember every moment, but memory is not the same as devotion. You deserve more than memory. You deserve to be fully met, not in imagination, but in reality. The hardest thing you will ever do is walk away from someone who felt like home, but only ever stood at your door. The man who looks into your eyes like he sees eternity, but still returns to his comfort. The one who feels it all, but still chooses hurt. His pain is not weakness, it is a rite of passage. A breaking open of the part of you that once believed love and suffering were the same thing. They are not. Love is not confusion. Love is not a shadow. Love is not a feeling that hides in silence and guilt. Real love is presence. It is truth. It is the kind of energy that shows up fully and says, I choose you because I choose myself. But he didn't choose that. He chose her. And maybe she fits the version of life he knows how to live. Maybe she is calm where you are wild. Maybe she is dependable where you are unpredictable. Maybe she makes sense, but you made him feel. And that terrified him more than anything, because men are not often taught how to feel. They are taught how to function, how to protect, how to provide, but not how to surrender. And you were surrender. You were intuition, emotion, stillness, power, and he saw in you everything. He doesn't allow himself to be. That is why he felt more with you, and that is why he walked away, because becoming the man who could hold you would require him to break everything he thought made him a man. His control, his certainty, his silence. You touched the chaos in him that wanted to be free, but he didn't have the strength to set it loose, so he went back to her, not because she is more, but because she is safer. That is not a reflection of your worth. That is a reflection of his fear. And now you stand at a threshold. Do you keep wondering why he chose her? Do you keep measuring your value based on his inability to choose you? Or do you finally return to the one place you've always belonged, yourself? You are not here to be remembered by him. You are here to remember yourself, to reclaim the energy you left in his mind, to take back the parts of you that still live in his absence. This is not the story of being rejected. This is the story of awakening, of recognizing that your power is not in being wanted, it is in being aligned. You were never meant to be the woman who waits. You were meant to be the woman who walks away from confusion, walks toward her clarity, walks into a version of herself that no longer accepts halfway love, because you are not a maybe. You are not an almost. You are not a second thought. You are a mirror of what he could have been, but more importantly, you are a mirror of what you are becoming. And the woman you are becoming does not chase being chosen. She becomes so rooted in her truth that the universe brings her people who are already. Sure, there is grief in this. Yes, grief for what could have been, grief for the connection that never fully lived, grief for the moments that still echo in your chest. But there is also power, power in seeing yourself clearly, power in feeling everything, and still rising, power in knowing that you loved deeply and still chose yourself. He will carry your energy for years, not because you forced it, but because it awakened something honest in you. You will carry the lesson that not everyone Who feels you is meant to hold you. Not everyone who sees your light is ready to stand in it. Not everyone who is moved by you is meant to walk beside you. Your energy is sacred. It is not for rehearsal. It is not for hiding. It is not for emotional. Tourists who only visit when their life feels empty. It is for presence, for partnership, for the kind of love that doesn't tremble in the face of truth. Let him feel. Let him remember. Let him wonder what if. But you go forward. You let go, because what he feels does not define who you are, and who he chooses does not diminish what you gave. You were the lesson, you were the invitation, you were the mirror, but now you become the answer, the one who no longer waits for closure because you closed the door yourself, not out of bitterness, but out of love for you. Let this be the moment you release the question, why did he choose her, and replace it with a better one. Why am I still choosing someone who doesn't choose me? That is the shift, that is the power, that is the freedom. You are not here to be a memory. You are here to be a masterpiece, and you don't need him to see it, to be at asterisk. And one day, without needing to prove anything, you will stand in front of someone who doesn't hesitate, someone who doesn't question your presence, someone who doesn't flinch when faced with your depth, because they have met their own. That is the man who is worthy of what you carry. Not the one who felt it and fled, but the one who feels it and stays, who doesn't shrink under your light, but grows because of it. And in that moment, you'll look back not with anger, not with longing, but with a quiet knowing that what you lost wasn't love. It was confusion disguised as connection, longing wrapped in projection, a lesson dressed as destiny. You will thank the ache, you will bless the memory, because it led you back to your own soul. And now, nothing and no one can take that from you. So stop rehearsing the past. Stop waiting for him to become what you already are, because you are the one. You were always the one, not just for him, but for you. Let that be the ending and the beginning at the same time.